Yeah.
Yeah, even
Traveling for the holidays at all?
Gonna be in the middle.
Yeah. My bedrooms, the home office, and I built those skills, the little, then I go back to the. Back to the bedroom, maybe the kitchen. Then I go back to my home office.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Maybe right there.
so you're available all the time.
Yeah, we're all, everyone's.
Everybody is back, Connie, you ready?
It's unfortunate.
Okay, everybody, we are live and ready to go. Mr. Sullivan.
Oh, wait, hang on. Are we back on?
She's live and recording.
I didn't hear it say we're recording. It did? Okay, sorry, go for it.
Yes, I got the green light.
Oh, okay, you're good.
Yeah, so Mr. Sullivan had to recuse himself from this opportunity just due to past involvement in your zoning officer. So we'll turn it over.
Sure, so with that, we would call application 24-002-020 Berkeley Heights 713 Realty LLC, 713 Plainfield Avenue, block 3102, lot 33 in the R20 zone. And council, if you would enter your appearance.
Yes, good evening, Chairman, members of the board professionals, Lawrence Sachs on behalf of the applicant, Berkeley 713 Realty LLC. This property is located at 713 Plainfield Avenue, also known as block 3102, lot 33 on your tax map. The property is located in your R20 zone. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this particular site. It's the Sunoco gas station that's on Plainfield Avenue. It's been there since 1957 when I was in diapers. We're here this evening seeking several forms of relief. One of them is we're looking to convert the three-bay garage that is there and a small office into a convenience store. So we're seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval to do that. We're also looking to change our hours of operation based on the use of this property potentially as a convenience store. Presently, the hours of operation are from 7 to 7:30. And by the way, those hours were set by prior resolution a number of years ago. We're looking to expand those hours minimally from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. This convenience store will not be a 24/7 convenience store. First of all, we don't have the capability to do so. It's a rather small site. It's only 2,058 square feet, the store itself. So it doesn't lend itself to that use. So it's going to be a limited hour convenience store. We're also looking to sell diesel fuel on this particular gas station. As this board may recall, there probably are some members who were here several years ago when you graciously granted an approval to permit new pumps there. We do have the capability to have diesel fuel based upon those new pumps being in place. Now, these are not going to be high flow diesel pumps. They're going to be low flow pumps. They will service your F-150 truck, small landscapers vehicles. So we're not looking to attract any tractor trailer traffic or any truck traffic really of any nature whatsoever. And that really wouldn't be permissible even based on the configuration of the site. So we're really just looking to add diesel to the mix of what we presently sell. So we're seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval because we are making some modifications to the site. We're seeking a use variance, a D1 and a D2. This is in the R20 zone, but it was granted a use variance many, many years ago. Because we're expanding the use, we technically need a use variance. That would be a D2 use to expand the non-conforming use. There are some bulk variances that we need. Interestingly, the bulk variances that we have that we're seeking are really pre-existing non-conformities, and we're abating them to a great degree, and our engineer will talk about that as well. In terms of the convenience store, we're looking to probably add only one more employee. We presently have 2 employees who work at the gas station. We're looking to add one more to work in the convenience store because it is a small store. We're not going to be doing any cooking there. We're not going to be making any sandwiches. Everything will be prepackaged. And we'll talk about deliveries as well, and how we're going to handle that. Mr. Chairman, I have three witnesses here this evening. I have our project engineer, our civil engineer, Mr. Tyler Vandervalk, who will testify. I also have my architect, who will describe what the layout will look like. We have some elevations as well. That's Mr. William Byrne. And also I have my traffic engineer, Mr. Joseph Steiger. Those will be my three witnesses tonight. I am not asking for a vote this evening because I do not have my planner here this evening. And I'm not even sure we would get to him even due to the late hour. So I know you don't want to go past 10:30. This is probably your last meeting before the end of the year, and I don't want to stretch it out. So, but hopefully I'll be able to get through those three witnesses. And then certainly when we come back, we'll have our planner as well.
And our goal will be to go expert by expert and then have the questions after. So this way we've accomplished something and that person wouldn't have to come back next.
That's fine. That would be acceptable. And I think that'll streamline it. We'll be able to get through our witnesses this evening. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, if I can call my first witness, it will be Mr. Tyler Vandervalk, and I'll get him qualified and
Mr. Vanderwalk, would you raise your right hand? As well as our board professionals. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Your name and address?
Tyler Vandervalk, Vandervalk, 6 Joan Drive, Montville, New Jersey.
Thank you. And if you could qualify yourself?
Sure, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. My license is current and in good standing. I am the owner of Civilized Engineering. I've testified and been accepted as an expert in civil engineering before multiple boards, including this one.
Thank you. No
Good.
question?
No questions.
all right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Vandervalk, if you can briefly explain to the board existing conditions that are here, what's being proposed, and I know you put the site plan, a rendering of the site plan up on your easel, so certainly feel free to refer to that as well.
Sure. So for the record, the plan that I have on the easel is the one that you should have before you. That is last revised April 2nd of this year, consisting of 2 sheets.
April 2nd, mine is April 17th.
So April 17th of 24 is the original date. If we look at the top right corner, we have the revision lines.
Got it.
Okay, so this site was a subject of a number of applications over the prior years, as outlined in your planner's report. The last site plan that I had prepared for this was back in 2020, and this was for upgrades to the fueling service on the site. So we upgraded to 3 dispensers. If you recall, we added new underground tanks for the fuel. As part of the county approval, there was all new sidewalks, curbing along the frontage. We did new site lighting, new landscaping around the perimeter. So the majority of the improvements were done at that time. Interestingly, as part of this site plan, we're actually doing an addition by subtraction. Most of the improvements I'm proposing is actually the removal of existing improvements, and we'll go through that. As of today, the building consists of a office area as then 3 garage bays from a prior maintenance garage years ago. The architect's going to get into the structure itself, but I will say we're taking off 14.5 feet from the southerly side of that building. So that equates to the last bay is coming off. Let's see if my little laser works here. So this is the south side of the building. And as depicted, it's showing that last bay taken off, which roughly follows my laser there, 14.5 feet, which equates to 521 square feet of building is being removed. In that area, we'll be proposing new parking along that southerly edge of the building, which will be adjacent a flush curb with bollards to protect the building. And that will be the main entrance into what would be the convenience store from the southeast corner. The fuel operation will all remain exactly the same. We're not looking to make any change in that regard. In addition to the 4 parking spaces that we're proposing up against the building, there will be additional 2 along Plainfield Ave to the southeast corner of the parking lot. After the parking, we have a 24-foot wide aisle, which is required, and then we're providing a loading zone 40 feet by 10 feet in the southerly corner of the property. Beyond that, we're actually taking or removing pavement from that southerly area. Towards the southeast along Plainfield Ave, that's a 5-foot reduction of pavement. We're shifting that curb line 5 feet. And towards the southerly corner, substantially more at 16 feet from the existing curb line. In its place will be landscaping, screening evergreens, as well as a rain garden for surface runoff from the parking lot. So despite the significant reduction in impervious for the project at about 800 square feet, we're still going to provide stormwater mitigation regardless, which was a request of the Environmental Commission, and that's what we provided in that area. As far as the parking, we're providing 1 ADA stall. It was noted in your professional reports that despite the standard of 11 feet federally, the town has a specific requirement for 12 feet. We will accommodate that. We're not looking or seeking a waiver. We can simply shift all the parking 1 foot further to the west. So we'll have a compliant 12 by 18 handicap stall with the necessary access aisle 5 feet wide adjacent to it. Then we have 2 standard stalls and then an EV charging station located furthest to the west of that bay of parking. And then, as I mentioned, 2 more standard stalls. So for this use, the retail use in your ordinance requires 1 stall per 500 square feet of retail space. We're just using the entire building square footage of a little bit over 2,000, which has a requirement of a fraction over 4 stalls. This application, as shown, provides 6 physical stalls. And then under the state ordinance, we would typically get a credit for the EV station of an additional stall, although not needed in this instance in order to conform with the ordinance. As far as circulation, we have a minor change to circulation on the site. As you're aware, under the prior approval, we switched everything to 1 way off of Plainfield, along the pumps, and then out Emerson. While that's not changing, this driveway is wide enough, we're going to add an exit. This is primarily, of course, for the convenience store customers. Gas is still going to operate in a 1-way manner. So there will be no fueling exit on the Plainfield Ave driveway. That will only be for the convenience store exit. So we are restriping that to add a stop bar, stop sign, and the necessary centerline striping to adjust that circulation. As mentioned in the opening, we are also proposing to sell diesel as part of the fueling operation. Again, this doesn't result in any physical changes to the site. The tanks that are in place, we would just simply convert one of those compartments to accept and serve diesel. And then the pumps are already set up as a 3+1, meaning it has the separate nozzle in case you were to sell diesel. As part of that, we are proposing a signed adjustment. I'm just going to change the page to sheet 2 here. Well, everything depicted there exists today, except for that price row, which will be for the diesel. So we have the existing Sunoco sign at that size that was mentioned, 42 by 72, that's in inches. And then we have the price panel of 54 by 32, again, existing condition with the LED pricing. And we'd be seeking to add a 16 by 54 inch panel beneath that for the diesel price. This does introduce new variants, of course, as we're expanding the existing non-conforming sign by 6 square feet. The permitted area would be 20 square feet, existing 33, and we'd be seeking to go to 39. All other aspects would be conforming or unchanged from the prior approval. As far as the bulk requirements, I'm not going to go over all of them in detail. I would highlight the variance requests, one being rear yard setback. The existing structure, sorry, I'm going to keep that. The existing structure on the southerly corner is 31.1 feet back from that rear property line. When we lop off that 14.5 feet and bring it to a new corner, because of the orientation of the building, the setback is actually changing, but it's for the better. We're going from 31.1 feet to 31.5 feet, still non-conforming and a new condition and therefore a new variance, but an improved condition over what exists today. Similarly, for the total impervious area permitted for this zone is 25%. The existing condition, again, which was approved by variance in 2020, is 82.1%, and we'll be further reducing that to 76.7%. So approximately a little over a 5% reduction in coverage, again, continuing to be non-conforming and therefore a variance is requested, but certainly an improvement over what's out there today. The other thing I wanted to highlight from the bulk standards is the building coverage. The allowable for the zone is 15%. The existing condition is 17.4. This application would actually bring the building coverage into conformance for the zone. So going from an existing non-conforming condition and eliminating that to bring it to 13.9%, over a whole percentage point less than what is required by the zone. So certainly a huge benefit of the application. We're not seeking any new lighting improvements. Lighting was approved again as part of the 2020 application. We're not seeking to make any changes to that. There are gooseneck fixtures that are proposed over the building signage, which the architect will highlight on his plan set. And that's simply just for the name of the convenience store on the front of the building. But those would be downward facing back at the building goosenecks. Certainly not a nuisance to any neighbors. Landscaping, as mentioned, we are increasing the landscape buffers, particularly to the southerly side, widening it anywhere from 5 feet to 16 feet, as discussed from what's out there today. There is an existing fence on top of the retaining wall along the property line. Then there's a row of evergreens which were approved under the prior application, and we would put a second row of evergreens along that. There was a comment in the planner's report, I believe, regarding is any design waiver required from the landscape requirements for parking. This is a question to me, and maybe we can just discuss it, but the requirements stipulate that if you have less than 8 stalls, you're not required interior landscaping. So I think we're certainly fine there. As far as exterior or surrounding landscaping, it requires a 5-foot buffer on all sides. We certainly have that to the southwest and to the southeast. The only area where it does not exist, of course, is along Plainfield Avenue, where our driveway is. So if that's a design waiver, we physically can't do it, then therefore we would request that waiver. But if that's just seen as the driveway entrance and it's understood that it can't be landscaped, then maybe it's not a design waiver. I leave that up to the board. Signage for the building was the one thing I forgot to mention. So we are proposing a small sign, and again, this will be depicted by the architect. From my calculations, the permitted area for that sign is 24 square feet or 10% of that easterly facade. I calculate that 10% to be 70 square feet, therefore the 24 would govern. The proposal is for 10 square feet. It's a 6-foot wide sign by 20 inches tall. All other aspects are met as far as total number of signs, height above grade, projection off the building, and lighting. I didn't have anything else direct unless you have some questions for me.
Yeah, just a couple of questions, Tyler, and just looking at some of the issues raised in the engineer's report. Let's talk briefly about refuse and recycling collection.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you can explain that.
Thank you for bringing that up. Again, under the 2020 application, there was a refuse enclosure approved and installed. This is located to the southerly side of the site along the rear. We're not looking to make any changes to that. So the operation for pickup would remain the same. Pickup today happens once a week, but of course we don't have the convenience store operation. So that could potentially go to twice a week. And that's during business hours.
And what about loading for delivery? So what type of delivery do we anticipate receiving at this location?
Okay, so for the convenience stores, you generally are receiving deliveries from each specific product. In other words, you don't have one truck that brings the soda and the chips. You have a delivery truck that brings the soda, you have somebody that brings the chips, the Red Bull van comes. Every different product is delivered by the different distributors. So these may happen depending on how it's scheduled, approximately once every day by a different deliverer. In theory, you could also have 5 in one day, and on the other days, it all depends on the need of the store. But those are relatively small vehicles. We don't have any tractor trailers coming in to make those deliveries. Those are either small box trucks or vans typically. I actually worked across from a station very similar in size to this, and that's what we saw on a regular basis. We do have the loading zone where they could leave the vehicle, but quite frankly, a lot of these vehicles fit in a standard stall, so you might see them parking there for the delivery as well.
And in terms of the diesel fuel component, I think I indicated in my open that these will be low speed. They will not be high flow or high speed.
Yeah.
Diesel pumps. There's a recommendation that we post signage on site prohibiting tractor trailer traffic, and certainly we're amenable to do
Yeah,
it.
the applicant is certainly open to that. The exact language of that sign, I could work with the planner or the engineer to decide what that needs to say, to be very clear about who's welcome and who's not. The diesel request is really a request from his customers, from his patrons. I mean, he has people stopping there. Do you sell diesel? And these aren't big trucks. These are pickup trucks. These are Sprinter vans. So he's just looking to fill a need that he's having since doing the upgrades back in 2020.
There's a comment of whether or not it's our intention to mill and repave the site. Can you comment on that?
Given that it's relatively freshly paved, we wouldn't be looking to do extensive milling and repaving. Of course, around the areas of the building demolition, the new sidewalk construction, the curb relocation, we would have to do some saw cut and repair, but we're not looking to repave the entire site at this time.
All right, and what about, Tyler, how are we going to handle snow removal on this site? Is there an area on site where we can accommodate the snow removal?
Yeah, so there are a couple of areas we can see in the southeast corner where we have some hatching in the parking lot where there wasn't space available for parking. That certainly snow could be stacked there. We also have this paved area behind the building where snow could be moved and stacked if necessary, alongside the northerly side of the dumpster, for example. So there's space available that how they do it today can continue to be done without interference based on the proposal. In fact, I believe there'll be more opportunities for snow storage.
There's a comment about the condition of the boundary metal fence along the south and west sides of the parking lot. What kind of shape is that fence in?
So this is we have a chain link fence on the southerly boundary line, and that has the intertwined metal slats, the white. That seems to be in good repair based on my review of it. Similarly to the rear, we have the portion of fence that runs to the dumpsters, same condition.
We proposing any rooftop HVAC equipment?
No, the anticipation, and this will have to come on a future revised plan, but any mechanical equipment we can place on the pavement behind the building, no increase in impervious. And if necessary, we could certainly supplement the existing landscape buffer there to help shield that.
And can that area also accommodate a generator if necessary?
If necessary, yes.
In terms of the utility grading and drainage comments, which I think are all good comments, we can comply with all of those recommendations.
Yes, I didn't have any issues with that. Those can all certainly be accommodated.
I think you covered the design waiver for the landscaping along Plainfield Avenue.
Oh, I should mention though, now that you bring that up, appreciate that. There was also a condition that I believe every 25 feet there would be a deciduous tree. All we've planted here was evergreens, so I will supplement this landscape plan to be compliant with that again, so we don't require the waiver.
And in terms of the comments regarding landscaping as well, there's a request to add some notes to the plans and to give guarantees for the sustainability of these plants. We have no objection to that.
I don't, but the only thing is maybe it was the planner's report and not the engineer's report. There was a comment about providing those evergreens to a height of 12 feet at planting. I would have concerns about those surviving. Those are very tall planting heights at the time of planting. Maybe there's somewhere in between. I think what we provided here is maybe 4 to 6 feet. Maybe we say 7 to 9 or something like that, but 12 feet seems like a difficult, especially if we're guaranteeing 2 years. I don't know. Those mature trees don't survive as well. But
We'll defer to your staff on that. All right. Tyler, touch a little bit about the rain garden that's being proposed as well.
yeah, so the rain garden, there additional specifics were requested as far as the sizing, et cetera, and we'll certainly provide that. As far as just generally how this functions, what we're providing for in the southerly curb is a flush curb at a point in the pavement where runoff coming across the pavement, running along that curb line would then defer into the rain garden. That would fill up and then over time drain into the ground. We'd have various plantings in there that like the wet conditions. The way we've designed this is that the point of overflow would be the same as the point of entrance. In other words, everything around this rain garden is higher in elevation than that curb cut. And so if this was to ever surcharge because we had a larger storm event than we designed for, it would just exit the way that everything is happening today, which is again, just running on the pavement out to Plainfield Ave. So that would be a continued condition, except attenuated, of course, by the design of the rain garden.
Just briefly to summarize the bulk variances that we're seeking. So the minimum rear yard setback, existing at 31.1 feet. We're actually improving that slightly to a 31.5 feet setback.
Correct.
All right. And in terms of lot coverage, presently we're at 64.7%. We're actually reducing that to 62.8%.
That's coverage other than building coverage.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then total impervious coverage, we're presently at 82.1%. We're reducing that down to 76.7%.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so we're actually mitigating any of these pre-existing nonconformities which already exist. All right, so in essence then, and I don't have any further questions, but basically we're reducing the size of this building by roughly 500 square feet to achieve additional parking, and we don't require any parking there. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further questions of Mr. Vanderwall.
Leave the car professionals, do they have any questions? None? Ms. West?
No.
Jack? No. Sprayed?
One quick question, I think I know the answer, but I want to confirm. For customers of the convenience store, they'll be able to come out, and make a turn. Is that gonna be right turn only? They won't be able to make a left turn?
We have not submitted to the county yet. If they want to give us that restriction, we won't have a choice but to comply, but it's not our intent at this time to limit the turning movement.
And the reason I ask is that's like, trying to make a left turn out of like a suicide mission.
Yes.
Everything's all impossible to make a left turn there, and that's why the first time around, that was how we kind of came up with that pattern of you come in and you go out the side street. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and Ms. Britta, we have our traffic engineer.
All right, perfect.
to Answer that question.
Great, excellent.
Mr. Ringwald?
Just a clarification, I thought, and I don't recall exactly where I read it, but when I was reading through the documents, I thought I saw somewhere that said that there were 7 parking spots required. Is that a fact?
I did see that somewhere as well. There wasn't a reason cited. Again, we have the retail use, which requires 1 per 500, which gets us to 4.1. The other 3, I'm thinking comes from there is a section for service garages, and that says 3 plus 3 per bay. So if you're saying, well, we still have the fuel service going on, so we need the 3, but we don't have any bays. So maybe that's where it's coming from. If so, again, we still comply with that, so.
I was just curious because I thought I saw that.
Yeah,
There's the other question I have, and this has nothing to do with the approval or anything, it's just like for my own edification. So the EV charging station. How, like, do you know, like, what's the average that it takes to charge a EV car?
So it largely depends on what type of charger you install,
Okay,
is the answer.
so if that's being used, and the only use of that would be if someone who has an EV and would be using it to charge, or someone, if that was empty, anybody could park there?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to talk about the parking, and I think we've all experienced this when, you know, you go to a gas station / convenience store, which, you know, we all frequent. People will obviously gas up, and while they're gassing up, they'll walk in and get a cup of coffee. Those are really constituted as parking spaces as well. So we actually have additional parking spaces, which I know my traffic engineer will talk about. So.
Thank you.
I don't know if this is the time, but like, obviously hours of operation requesting to extend those or.
Yeah, so right now, I think I indicated it's 7 to 7:30. We're looking to go from 6 instead of 7 a.m. to start at 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock. My planner is gonna cover a lot of that when we get to the planning test, which won't be tonight, by the way. But yes, we'll cover that in detail.
Yeah, as far as signage, regarding the diesel fuel. You said it's a low flow diesel system.
Right.
So if a tractor trailer's on 78. And he either puts in his GPS or something to find diesel fuel. Is it gonna come up where he's gonna get off the highway with that tractor trailer and then get down to that gas station and realize he's gotta turn around?
Yeah, well, I think what's gonna happen is he's gonna approach that gas station and realize there's no way he's getting in there because it's obviously not big enough. I mean, it's, you know, it's a real narrow, I don't know. I mean, I can't, human nature, I can't account for that. That's why we have Title 39 enforcement. We just don't know how the drivers are gonna operate, but I would imagine a tractor trailer, if he needs gas on 78, is not gonna get off and drive, you know, into Berkeley Heights to try to find this gas station. But again, we're gonna post signage, you know, and certainly.
Just on the property itself, nothing at the exit, nothing at the intersection of
Sure.
Plainfield and the exit lane.
I guess if DOT permits us to post signage, we could put some type of signage there as well. And this way they wouldn't even get that far on Plainfield Avenue.
All right, thank you.
Ms. West, you had a question?
I didn't have a question at first because I wasn't certain if it was the appropriate time, but with respect to the convenience store
Yeah.
portion, and now the new hours, and I think about teenagers and the likelihood of teenagers frequenting a convenience store. Will there be tobacco products sold there, such as vapes and things, or are those going to be limited?
That's a good question. I'm gonna ask the operator and I'll have an answer for you. Okay?
Thank you. In reference to some other questions, so the rear of the building, you talk about putting some utilities back there. If I recall from past times, there was some device back there that was used. Is that still there? It was used to like,
Yeah, it was for part of the remediation. There was a device back there. It's not there now.
okay,
But my understanding is the remediation is not complete. So whether that comes back at some point, it's kind of out of our hands, but it's not there now.
that's from the previous,
Yeah, there were some monitoring wells on the site. And I
Right.
know the device you're talking about, and I agree, it's no longer there. I doubt it will have to come back because,
okay,
you know, it served a purpose and I guess it's no longer necessary.
okay, yeah, I was just wondering, because if you're gonna put more stuff back there, right, how that would work. We talked about plans, okay, Bob.
Can I interrupt? The monitoring wells, I believe, that goes on forever.
Yeah, the wells are there, but we're talking about that
Right.
equipment.
Monitoring
Things
things,
he covered or
no,
blocked in him. Okay,
Yeah, they used to have this big piece of equipment back there that
yeah.
Right.
somebody else had to come monitor and maintain. The plants that were put in last time, right? So when this was here 2 times ago, made great progress on it, right? The building looked nice. But the plants aren't always kept up, right? That was one of the things we talked about specifically on Emerson and so on. So 2-year guarantee sounds nice on the other plans, but they can't just, because that side is where the homeowners are, right?
Right.
And again, I hate to say in perpetuity, but there's gonna have to be something that says, you know,
Right.
they have to be maintained and.
Yeah, I mean, you can have an ongoing condition that obviously the landscaping is maintained, and that would be contained in any resolution if the board acts favorably.
And then the fence, you say same thing, right? It was my understanding, the fence on that wall was supposed to have been cleaned up as part of the resolution last time. So I'm hoping that wasn't so long ago that it's, you mentioned that it's in decent shape, that I'm hoping that it's in good shape, because it shouldn't be all that old.
What we will do is we'll provide some photographs
Yeah,
at
that'd
the
be great.
next hearing, and we'll demonstrate.
Again, just because that was on the homeowner side and boundaries. So that's all my personal questions. So if somebody can make a motion, open up to members of the public for questions of the engineer.
So move.
Second by Ms. West. Anybody who has a question specific to the engineer, and again, questions, no comments, to anything that Tyler has asked, please step forward. And again, just questions of the engineer at this time.
And can you give us your name and address?
Hi, yes, Andrea De Silva, 37 Janet Lane.
Go ahead.
Just two questions. First, currently there are external bathroom stalls that are along Emerson Lane. What's the intent for toilets for the convenience store?
They'll be inside, and our architect is gonna explain that.
Okay, will you be closing the ones that are along?
I think there's one door to the exterior still, but
Okay.
let's leave it for the architect.
Okay, no problem. Second question, I'm not sure if it's better for you or someone else, but the parking situation, you're talking about minimizing the number of parking stalls. So where are you projecting that cars will go? You know, if there's a delivery truck that's delivering the chips, if there's a big landscape vehicle fueling and two other people in the convenience store parking lot and people can't fit in because there's no real shoulders on Plainfield and certainly not on Emerson. So where are these cars going to go?
Yeah, I mean, this may be better suited for our traffic engineer, but we do have a dedicated loading spot, so those vehicles that are making deliveries shouldn't be in any of the parking spaces, and it will be clear of any access aisles or anything like that. As far as like if the tanker truck is there filling the tanks, I mean, then that's not gonna be a convenience store for you because it's not convenient, right? So you probably pass by, but that's really the type of traffic these establishments see is pass by traffic, so you're not gonna wait around when you know you can just head a little further into town, but I'll leave that for the traffic engineer to go more deeply on it.
Okay, thank you. I would hope not, but I do have concerns about vehicles deciding to try to stop along particularly Emerson, but also Plainfield while they decide to, run in and grab a cup of coffee. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Your name and address?
Hi, my name is Chris House and I'm at 20 Janet Lane.
Thank you.
So my question is, how big is the tank dedicated in the ground for diesel? How many gallons does that hold?
I need to get that answer from the owner, Bush.
Yeah, whatever the smaller, I don't know, the smaller that I
Oh,
chose.
no.
See, we're not adding anything.
Right.
Yeah, we're just modifying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it'd be 5,000 gallons.
5,000 gallons.
5,000 gallons.
And based on a study of your frequency of how many times you're gonna have delivery trucks in there? How many times would that be per week, did you say?
For fuel deliveries, you're talking?
Fuel delivery for diesel.
For diesel specifically?
Yep.
I don't know specifically for diesel, but generally the fuel deliveries are happening probably about 2 to 3 times a week. So diesel specifically, I'm not sure. You know, we may need to get the operator for that.
Diesel comes in the same tanker. They make both deliveries at the same time. So diesel is not a separate tanker, it comes within the same.
Okay.
Tanker has compartments.
So yeah, the tanker is making different grades delivery
Mhm.
at the same time. So you're not making another trip.
Okay.
You're just having a longer delivery time.
Okay. And based on the feedback from your consumers that want diesel, how frequently do you think they're gonna be visiting you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to defer to the operator.
Hard to speculate, but I will
It's a part of
tell,
a business
No.
case, right?
yeah, but I will tell you that I just anecdotally.
Yeah.
You'll certainly still have more patrons utilizing your normal fuel.
No, yeah, for sure, but
Yeah,
it's
diesel
more-
is not going to be,
It's more the incremental?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's all I have for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the engineer? Step forward.
And your name?
Peggy House, 20 Janet Lane. Why the additional row of evergreens in the back?
We just saw it as an opportunity to reduce our coverage and provide some additional landscape for that neighbor.
Landscape to the neighbor to cover the, right, to cover the additional HVAC that has to go in the back and the generator and the other equipment that you're putting in the back?
No, that second row of landscaping that we're talking about is on the south side of the building. And that equipment we're talking about would be on the west side of the building.
Okay, so it's on the south side, like to the side
If
of
you're
the
looking
convenience
at the
store.
property from Plainfield,
Yep,
there would
to
be
the left.
additional screening to the
To the
left.
left.
Correct.
Okay. And can a low flow diesel thing still fuel a tractor trailer?
No. No, they won't stop. They'll be there for,
It's not that they won't stop. I'm just asking, like, it can't, like, so if somebody's
I'm not even
running,
sure it can accommodate it in terms of the nozzle, so.
or you're a lawyer?
My understanding is that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer.
Okay, I was just making sure if you were the expert.
No, I'm not, yeah. I'm
We're
not
not,
very-
we're not talking like 10 minutes. It could be an hour to fill a tractor trailer with a low flow.
Yeah,
diesel.
yeah.
So
Sure.
that,
It's still possible, though, if they're running out of gas off of 78 and can't turn around.
Anything's
Just
possible.
making sure.
But again, I think, you know, as you know, truckers want to get where they need to go, and they're not going to stop at a gas station that has a low flow. It just wouldn't happen, so.
Okay, thank you.
I saw there was one other hand. Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Miller. I'm at 25 Emerson Lane. Sorry, I was just writing down some notes here, so I'm sorry it's might not come out. Regarding the egress onto Emerson Lane, that there's going to be no change to that is my understanding. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so regular sized cars barely make that right turn to be able to stay in their lane to come to the stop sign. Just the other day, I had to way back up on Plainfield Avenue in anticipation that the car coming out certainly went into both lanes and Emerson and on Plainfield. That is not uncommon. It's my question, because it is the question, is how are we accommodating for in the traffic study? And I know this is not the time to talk about traffic, but what is the accommodation for the egress for the large wheel-based vehicles, such as you specifically stated, F-150s? So while I was sitting down, has a wheelbase of 122.8 inches to 157 inches.
Plus a trailer.
And so a dump truck with a trailer could go up to 216 inches. Ambulance for rescue is 138 to 144 inches. Sprinter vans 144 to 170. I drive a CRV, which is 106. So my car makes it. Yukon is 120. That's a typical mom car. A minivan, you know. So to make my point, what accommodations are going to happen with the egress?
Traffic engineer will respond to that.
Okay,
So
this is something that's loud and
Sure.
clear. I'm just gonna
And-
let you know that that's something that we're really going to hear about. I'm gonna
Just
want to hear about.
Just so the board can take judicial notice of this fact, not
Yeah.
every F-150, Yukon, or other vehicle takes diesel. So those vehicles presently are getting serviced at this gas station.
And I'm bringing it up because it is
I
an issue.
understand. But my
Okay,
traffic engineer will answer.
yes, okay. I also kind of read in the report, and you commented too, when somebody goes into the store, that, you know, that 10 minutes that it takes to fill up a regular car, which would be about like 5 to 15 minutes, let's say. That
15
they're,
minutes to fill a car?
I'm generous here, right?
No, I don't think it takes that long to fill a car.
That's why I'm being generous, to my point of, did I hear you clearly to say that if somebody is fueling, that they will be permitted to leave their car, go into the convenience station, probably wait online, go to the bathroom. I work on the road, so I would depend on getting a coffee and use a bathroom. And then if there's a line, and then to get back to my car, I would believe that there would be traffic behind me, the second pump, possibly the third pump. Let's make this like a big deal. Let's say more people were coming in and
Is
then.
there a question? I'm just
Yeah.
curious, okay.
What is the plan for the backups? Are they gonna have to park and then wait so that they're not on Emerson Lane?
We have our traffic engineer who has done an analysis and will respond to that. So if there's a question, you can certainly ask him at that.
Okay.
When he testifies.
So my next, and then you also, did I hear you correctly that the remediation, anything that's related to that will be, allowed to continue happening, the full access and all that?
Yes.
Okay. And then will there be security cameras?
Most
Yeah,
likely.
I would
I would
anticipate, yeah.
anticipate there will be, yes.
Already are.
And it's already there. So
Okay, where are they?
I don't think we need to disclose that. It's probably not something we want to disclose, but there are
Okay.
security cameras.
I've been there for 30 years, so there has been robbery,
Yeah,
like when,
sure.
yeah, and so just to make sure that there's access for, as well as traffic. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Any other questions? Sure.
And just your name and address for the record again.
Sure, Peggy House, 20 Janet Lane. What are the accommodations by extending the hours? What else do you get besides the increased business stuff?
Well, I think, again, my planner will provide that testimony, but I don't think it's unreasonable to have extended hours on a gas station and a convenience store. Most of the convenience stores and gas stations in the state of New Jersey, and again, the planner will testify to this, are 24/7 operations or 20-hour-a-day operations. So this is not a 24/7 operation that we're
Correct.
proposing.
Do you get additional signage off of 78 by extending your hours?
That's an issue with the DOT. I can't respond to that. So.
I'm just asking for the for the
Well,
traffic,
again, if
right, the increased traffic and the question regarding tractor trailers.
Sure, if I can answer you. If the DOT permits us to put signage up, one of the requests is that there be signage that no tractor trailer fueling at this location. We're certainly willing to do that.
Okay, I've never seen those on 78, so, okay, thank you.
Anybody from the board again? Oh, one more?
Sunita Kandula, 710 Plainfield Avenue.
Just a little slower. Sorry, your first name?
Sunita Kandula, 710 Plainfield Avenue. Convenience store, does it fit the residential community?
Again, that's a question for the planner. He's not here this evening, but at our next hearing, I'll have him answer that question for you. I can answer it, but I'm not a planner. I don't know of many gas stations in the state of New Jersey that don't have a convenience store.
In the residential area.
25 associated.
In the residential area.
I didn't, there are many gas stations in residential neighborhoods as well that have convenience stores. But again, my planner will
All right,
respond.
folks, unless you're up at the microphone, please.
We'll respond to that.
Thank you.
Any questions specific to the engineer? If not, can we get a motion to close to members of the public?
So move.
Second, one more?
Name and address?
Hi, sir. My name is Rohit Dubey, 674 Plainfield Avenue,
Can you just spell your first name?
Rohit, Rohit, Dubey. And my question is regarding with existing facilities already the residential neighborhood isn't too much nuisance. The kind of traffic which is going to be brought in.
Is there a
by-
question, sir?
Yeah, question. Don't stop.
no, no.
I'm coming to the
Just
question.
saying, for the
Coming to the question. To the engineer, what kind of study has been done? What kind of products are going to be sold in the convenience store?
That will not be answered by the engineer, so we'll have to wait for the planner to talk about products in the convenience store. So anything that the engineer has just given us information on, that's what we can ask questions about at this time. So if we've got questions about the sign or the coverage or the planting, anything that the engineer has talked about, that's what we can address at this moment. We're gonna get to an architect who will talk about the building and design. We'll get to a traffic person, we'll talk about studies and patterns, and then next time, when we come back, the planner will be here and have a whole lot more answers. So anything that the engineer has given us today,
Okay.
that's what we can address because that's what he's prepared to answer in return.
Yeah, that's fine. We can discuss about the questions later then.
Okay, thank you. Final question for the engineer.
And it's related.
Name and address for the record again?
My name's Chris House. I'm 20 Janet Lane. I just wanted to be clear that I understood earlier. This area is staging?
Loading zone.
Loading zone, sorry,
Yes.
loading zone. And this was the snow storage area.
It's an option for it, yeah. It's just a no parking area.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now can I get a motion to close?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
And a second by Mr. Prada. We're now closed for questions. Your next professional?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me call up my architect because I think he'll be pretty brief and hopefully we can get to our traffic engineer.
Great.
Mr. Byrne, if you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And your name and address for the record?
Sure, it's William Byrne. My business address, 10 Main Street in Chester, New Jersey.
And if you could qualify yourself?
Sure, a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey. I've been licensed since 1994. I've appeared before many boards, not this one, but I do see Amanda quite often. And my license is in good standing. We'll accept. All right, back to the, so, briefly, if you can, I know you've got a board on the easel, if you can describe the layout of this particular convenience store that's being proposed, and I know you've got some elevations as well, if you could describe them. Sure, the two exhibits that I do have tonight are what have been submitted. There's no changes made, so I don't believe a reason to mark them. Sheet number one is what we see here on the easel at this point, and that includes the 4 exterior elevations of the building. The primary change to the building is, as our engineer had mentioned, is the reduction in size from the left side. We're removing about 15 feet of length of a fairly long building. So I think proportionally it does become actually quite a bit nicer in its new dimensions. So again, that reduction would be just a straight line reduction. We're essentially just taking that roof away and retaining what's to be retained. So there's no other changes to the roof line or the physical size or structure itself. The other changes that exist all have to do with penetrations, windows, doors, things like that. So on that front view, that top left elevation, we have 2 groups of windows, banks of windows that would be put in place of the current service bay doors. There are existing doors there from the point when it was a service station, and so those will be removed and replaced. To the right of those, we are adding a wall sign. It's going to be illuminated by gooseneck lights. It's a style that we see quite often, we use quite often. Again, much of our work is in Western Morris County, the Chester and Mendham historic areas, and so we tend to favor that type of signs. And they do really, I think, create a nice enhancement, break up that facade a bit. The door that's there today is still shown. There's no change to that door that goes into the office, and we have a couple of new windows to the right of that, which we feel make for a nice enhancement to that front facade. A question was raised by the planner regarding the 3rd dormer that exists today on the roof. And essentially that occurs right to the edge of that section of the roof that we're removing. So that 3rd dormer that is there today comes away, leaving the other 2 dormers to remain. And we actually feel like they become quite proportionally spaced based on that change. So we think that's a nice enhancement. Moving to the right, we have the right side elevation. The primary change to that is that we are removing one of the 2 exterior entrances to the lavatories that exist today. So we will still retain the rearmost door and that rearmost lavatory, but the one toward the center goes away. The back of the building has a few high windows that go into the service bays. Those are going to be removed, and no real reason in this case to keep them. And we feel like it'll contain the light shed. And again, it's a well-screened elevation on the back of the property. And to the right side of the sheet, the right bottom, would be that new elevation facing the new parking. Again, that's currently an end wall of the service bay, and that will be our new location for the primary entrance to the C store. You can see on the bottom right, we've got double doors and some glazing, some glass to create an inviting entranceway. And we're adding a small decorative roof over that bank of windows and doors to get a little bit of weather protection, a little bit of style, I'd like to say. And we will be able to put some illumination in that soffit to create a nice safe environment to enter the store. The exterior facade as well, just one last thing, is currently, I think, in very, very nice condition. And what we'll be doing on the side that we're essentially reconstructing is just going to match that. It's going to be a painted brick and essentially match. So I think, again, if you didn't recall how big the building was, you probably wouldn't realize it was changed all that much.
Before you move on, the reason for retaining one of the exterior bathroom doors?
As I recall, it was discussed that it was actually somewhat convenient because of the location of the entrance to the store, and that sometimes patrons that just fueling want to go and use that bathroom. So just because of the logistics of the building, it seemed to make sense to retain that outside entrance. We don't actually require it. There is only one bathroom required for a facility this size and use, but it was felt since it was there, it would ideally be retained for that reason.
And actually, we leave that up to the board discretion. I mean, if you feel that it's not necessary, or you're not going to see that, we certainly probably will.
Thanks.
We will actually, and again, I did flip to the second sheet, which is our floor plan. We are actually increasing the size of both of those bathrooms so they can be barrier-free compliant. They're not currently. So there would be a change done internally. Obviously, it doesn't affect the outside, but we would meet, the requirements for barrier-free. So again, just to wrap up on the floor plan, we show here on the plan that we are reducing the building size by that last service bay. We have that primary entrance in the bottom left of the space. And as we come into the store, we have, a pretty conventional layout for a C store. This is frankly a fairly modest size for a C store. We are involved with a number of these projects and we have been for many years. And so I would say this falls into the middle to smaller size range of what we typically see. But again, there's still opportunity to have a nice product mix. We have a cashier station, and we've got an area for coffee service, and we've got, cooler for drinks and refreshments. And again, the convenience of the bathroom. Again, there's, I guess, the possibility that we would have, electric car charging and people maybe wanting to, stay on site for a period of time while the cars are charged. And, that tends to be the trend as well these days. It's part of this use. And I think our attorney had mentioned it's becoming pretty infrequent that service stations would still exist in combination with fueling, and that these convenience stores and these local neighborhood markets, I think, are really on trend. And I think it's just, a nice example of it in this case.
Anything else from?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just in terms of, I know there's a proposal to put some gooseneck lighting. If you could just describe where that is. I think it's probably on the other plan, right?
It is, yeah. So again, I had touched on this briefly, but the sign is located essentially in what will be the center of this facade. The sign is 20 inches in height, 72 inches in width. It's a wall-mounted sign. And to illuminate that sign, we just have some tasteful gooseneck lights that would come off the building and be shielded so they don't create much of a glare, but they do create a nice look, a nice enhanced look.
And this is the only sign for the building that you had discussed earlier.
Yeah, there's no need for any pylon sign for that. It's just going to be up this, on the facade itself.
Mr. Smith, any questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Delia? Ms. Pareda?
So there's no like Sunoco branding on the building itself, just a sign in the front of Sunoco. There's no like crazy yellow, blue, red stuff on the roof, right?
Hard to believe, but you're right.
All right.
No Wawa sign.
No.
All right.
Mr. Sylvester?
No.
Sylvester? I have no questions at this time, so can we get a motion open to members of the public for questions? Oh. So I have no questions.
There you go. Public?
Can we get a motion for the public?
Make a motion.
Mr. Delia, and a second by Mr. Smith. Questions for the architect based on what he's just described for us tonight? Lady in the back.
My name is
Kathleen Williams. I live 695 Plainfield Avenue.
Yep.
And in terms of the bathrooms, we now have two. You'll take one out. Are you putting one inside the convenience store?
Correct. So the one that exists toward the rear would stay. We're going to enlarge it so it can accommodate a wheelchair, handicapped individual. The second one, we're actually going to reverse the entrance to become an interior bathroom. So if someone that was inside the store could use that bathroom, and again, it would be increased in size and compliant with the current barrier-free requirements.
So in your estimation, would that decrease the use of the outside bathroom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
House?
Hi, Chris House, 20 Janet Lane. I think you mentioned one of the doghouse dormers was coming off.
Correct.
Is the height of the roof line increasing?
It's not changing.
It's not changing from today.
Not at all.
Is this enclosed attic space here?
I think that structure was roof trusses.
It's trusses inside.
Yeah.
So they talked about air conditioning and that being on the outside.
The air handler would be on the
So that would be a little bit noisy. Is there a possibility to put the air handler inside the attic?
So the air handler would be within the attic space and we would duct it with wet stuff into the ceiling, but the condenser units would be outside, similar to most likely many of the residences. Again, a 2,000 square foot building would not require something more than a residential.
The air handler is gonna be built outside too. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions for the architect? Seeing no one, can we get a motion to close to members of the public? Mr. Paredes, second by Mrs. West,
Second.
now close to members of the public. Your
Thank you,
final,
Chair. I have, one more witness this evening, so if you'll go with me, we'll try to get through it.
we'll do our best to get through it
Thank
tonight.
you, okay.
Mr. Steiger, if you'd raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your name and address?
Joseph Steiger, Staigar, and business address is 245 Main Street in Chester, New Jersey.
And if you could qualify yourself?
Yes, I have a master science degree, civil engineering, New Jersey Institute of Technology. I've been an adjunct professor, traffic engineering courses at NJIT. I'm a professional engineer licensed in the state of New Jersey, also professional planner. I'll be here as a traffic expert if you so qualify me. But I've appeared before this board. It's been a while, but I appeared before this board throughout Union County, and I have to say well over 1,000 occasions throughout the state of New Jersey in almost 50 years.
And your licenses are in good standing?
Good standing.
And you're only seeking to be accepted as a traffic expert?
Correct.
Perfect, thank you.
Accept.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Steiger, I know you've done a comprehensive traffic study with respect to this location and to this proposed use. So if you can give the board and the public the benefit of your conclusions and findings with respect to that.
Yes. And the traffic impact study that we prepared is basically broken into three parts. We go out and we take existing conditions. We take traffic counts, we make measurements of roadways and watch traffic and see what the issues may be as traffic moves in and around the area, site distance, inventory of existing conditions. From that, we project how much traffic and will be generated by the proposal and how it will change. And then assess what impacts that additional traffic would have on those existing conditions. Thirdly, we work hand in hand with the site engineer, analyzing the site, make sure we have sufficient parking, circulation around the site, and make sure it's safe for pedestrian movements and so forth. So basically those three parts. In September of this year, we went out, and we have gone in the past as well, previous applications for this property, traffic counts. We take traffic counts at the intersection of Emerson Lane and Plainfield Avenue, and also at the driveway to get how much traffic's coming in and out of the existing site. We not only count the magnitude of traffic, but how many made lefts, made through movements, make rights. We break that down, and that's all prepared, provided in our traffic report, all that data. Secondarily, we take a look at proposed conditions. Now, we do have an existing site, so we have the benefit of being able to go out there today and find out how many vehicles are generated by the existing site. What we don't know is what's going to happen in the future, and we have to rely upon empirical data, actual traffic count data at similar types of sites of how much traffic these service stations with convenience marts generate in terms of traffic volumes as well. And then what's the difference? And we provided that information in our traffic report, but just to give the public a magnitude of the volumes that we're dealing with. In the morning peak hour, the site is relatively, I'll say, less traffic. We have in the morning peak hour, let me back up a little bit. Traffic counts. When we take the traffic counts to find out the existing volumes on the street, we obviously want to take them under worst case scenarios, which are the peak hours. Typical peak hours are between 7 and 9 a.m. in the morning on weekdays, 4 o'clock to 6:30 in the evenings on weekdays as well. What we found was that the peak hours at this particular site, both traffic that are generated by the site as well as on the roadway, occur between, I had the 7:45 to 8:45. We take the traffic counts in 15-minute increments. All right. So what we do is that we count the highest 4 consecutive 15-minute increments to get our peak hour. That's why we're talking 7:45 to 8:45. In the evening peak hour, we took the counts from 4 to 6:30 p.m. Peak hour occurred between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. So those are our peak hours that we're analyzing. And their volumes are the highest, so obviously we're going to get worse conditions in terms of people have delays in the traffic and so forth. During the during the peak hours, the AM and the PM peak hours of the existing site. I'll talk about vehicles coming, because what goes in comes out typically during those peak hours. 12 vehicles. Got a technical glitch.
As long as we're recording, it's fine.
We're recording?
We lost video, but we're recording.
Okay. The morning peak hour, as counted, 12 vehicles entered the site. Customers came into. That's correct. In the evening peak hour, 4:30 to 5:30, 32 came into the site. Customers, so a lot busier. Now the roadway volume pretty much the same, which is kind of peculiar because gas stations, particularly, are almost parasite type of. They feed off the existing volumes of traffic. If you think about it, nobody really gets out of their easy chair watching TV to go buy gas and fill up their car and then come back home again. You're doing that when you're running other errands. It's almost like a nuisance errand that you're running. You combine it with primary errands that you may be doing, either going to work. Traffic volumes on the street are typically a very good indication, A, when the peak hours occur and how much volume is drawn into the gas station.
Any account taken into like the 2:30 to 3:30 time frame when like schools let out?
Oh, yeah. Again,
Because you said that it started at 4. I'm talking about 2:30 to 3:30
No,
when schools are
The peak hour was 4:30 to 5:30, but they measured all day.
all day.
And we get those volumes typically from the DOT. We're not out there counting all 24 hours, but there are, and what we find when we do take those types of counts where we put the tubes out and you're counting them for a week time, 24 hours, is that, yeah, you'll find a blip, but that peak hour really occurs during that rush hour, that evening rush. Watch what happens at a school. There's 10-15 minutes of total chaos. Parents are lined up, kids are running across the street, and 10 minutes go by, 15 minutes go by, and everything's back calm again. So hourly volumes typically for schools are suppressed because they happen in a very short time period. But we do take that into account, and when we all we'll look at that particular peak hours, but we're not so much influenced by, I believe, at this site, for that, situation.
And you said, so 12 entrances between 7:45 and 8:45, and what was the traffic?
No, 12 in the, 7:45, 8:45. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
what was the total traffic during that time?
Good question. I have that number. Total traffic through the intersection during the morning peak hours, 850 vehicles. So vehicles that traveled on Plainfield Avenue and Emerson Lane, either rights, lefts, throughs, 850 morning peak hour, 1000 PM peak hour.
Thanks.
Street's a little bit busier in the PM, but again, it's kind of inordinate in terms of what we see volume wise.
Just clear, that includes the traffic that's driving by the gas station, not necessarily going in and out, but it includes also cars coming in and out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Actually include every vehicle that went through the intersection of Emerson and Plainfield, 850, 1000. So, and from all directions, actually, there's only 6 directional flows because you have a T intersection. So you're either going through, making a left or right, or coming out, making a left and a right. So there's only 6 movements. That's our base information. To project how much traffic this will be generated by the future site, we utilize the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual. This is a volumes of book based on actual traffic counts that professionals have gone out there and actually counted vehicles at gas stations, with convenience stores, without convenience stores, residential developments, shopping centers, offices, to come up with trip generation rates. How much traffic is generated by these sites based on independent variables. In this case, we took the size of the building, which is typical for a convenience store at a gas station, to determine what the projections would be for future traffic. During those same peak hours, the AM peak hour jumps from 12 to 38. I don't know why there's that inordinate increase, but that's what we got. It goes from 12 to 38, and that's what we use in our further analysis. PM peak hour, we go from that 32 to 44. So we can expect as much as 25 additional vehicles in the morning peak hour, and as much as 12 vehicles coming into the site in the evening peak hour. So that's our increase. What we find is when we break down, and I'm gonna kind of rationalize where these numbers, how these numbers make sense to me as a professional engineer, traffic engineer, is we have 3 types of customers. Well, right now we only have one type of customer, buying gas. They buy gas, and they leave the site, primarily. We'll have 3. We'll have the gas-only customer that continues just to buy gas and move on. And we have the customer that buys gas and also a product in the store. And then we have the customer that only buys a product in the store. The percentages that we find when we study these types of convenience marts, and this is let me backtrack a little bit. This is much of a different animal than the Wawas and the Quick Checks that we see out there. This is a local, I'll say neighborhood type of convenience store. This is not drawing traffic off of from miles around. This is primarily passed by traffic. People are already on Plainfield Avenue. They're already on Emerson Lane pulling into the site. But the breakdown typically will still be known as a gas station. 60% of the traffic that comes into the site will still buy gas only. 20% will buy gas and a product. 20% will buy a product only. So that's basically the breakdown that we've always, when we study gas stations in actually existing, find that that's very consistent with what goes on in the field, in the industry. The highest volume of traffic, as I said before, will be 44 trips coming into the site. If you break that down, we have 20% of 44, about 9 vehicles that will buy product only, store only. 9 that will go to the gas pump, go into the store, and 26 will be gas only customers as well. So there's our breakdown of who will continue to use the site, and how that will work. Nine people will park their car to go into the store. 9 customers will primarily stay at the gas pump and go into the store. Now, it does take about 5 minutes, 6 minutes to fill up by the time the attendant gets to you, tell them what kind of grade you want, puts the nozzle into the fuel pump, pumps your vehicle up, and then come around again to take the payment. It's about a 5-minute, 6-minute procedure. What we found is that the compatibility, and I'm telling you, there's always going to be an outlier. Somebody goes to the toilet and has issues in the toilet. Yeah, he may be there for a little bit more time period, but primarily you're in the store less than 5 minutes. Here in New Jersey, the only state in the whole United States where we don't pump our own gas. So we have the luxury to have the attendant pump the gas. And why, rather than wait and sit, you go in and get your cup of coffee or do your business what you do. And you're in there probably 3 minutes, 4 minutes, about the same time that it takes the transactions of fueling your pump. So there's no long lines of gas, people purchasing gas and cars lining up to buy gas because somebody happens to be in the store for long periods of time. And we're only talking about nine customers per hour that are going to be buying gas and go into the store as well. So it's not an issue in terms of causing long lines and waiting time at the pump aisle itself. So I don't see any incidents that there'll be long lines backing out onto Plainfield Avenue. We do, I'll put the site plan again. We are modifying the driveways, at least the Plainfield Avenue driveway, to be a 2-way driveway, allowing the people that will go into the store, park their vehicles, go into the store, to then exit out. The next step that we take when we project the amount of trip generation is how will that breakdown of vehicles, additional traffic particularly, impact the movements through those intersections. And we do that by modeling the intersections, and we model the intersection of Plainfield Avenue and Emerson, how many lanes, how many lefts, throughs, and right turns, what the volumes are. And then determine what the level of service is. And you've probably heard from other traffic engineers, levels of service, similar to what you have in grade school, A through F. And they relate to the average delays. So you analyze the volume of traffic, how many making lefts, more difficult to make a left, obviously, than making rights. You can process more rights than lefts. And how much conflicting traffic there is. And determine what the level of service is. The level of service of the intersection of Emerson and Plainfield Avenue is level of service for the future conditions is level of service C. So there's 19 seconds of delay for average delay, which relates to the level of service C. And the site driveways operate at level service A, 8 to 9 seconds of delay. So just as in grade school, level service A through F, A being the best condition, minimal delay, acceptable levels of service, particularly range from A through D, And we are in the A and C range at these intersections. There's no degradation. We don't drop from an A to a C. They're currently C at the intersection of Plainfield and Emerson. And in the future conditions with the additional traffic that I just talked about, we remain at level of service C. Driveways operate level of service A. They'll continue to operate level of service A with minimal delays. So there is no impact or significant impact in terms of how the intersections will operate. And we use the gauge, and as mentioned in our report, the DOT, we're certainly on a state highway, but DOT finds that if you're generating less than 100 trips per hour, you're not what's considered an insignificant increase in traffic and would have no impact. We've taken it a step further, actually did the analysis to show that the levels of service do not change, no degradation, so that there will be that gives us a magnitude in terms of what the impacts could potentially be, and we continue to operate at the acceptable levels of service, ranging from A through C. Again, I think as the engineer had mentioned, we still have to go through the county process. Plainfield Avenue is a county road. We have to go through the same process that basically we're doing here under having the county take a look at the intersections as well. One question the board member had mentioned was, what about left turns on Plainfield Avenue? Well, safety-wise, we have great sight distance on Plainfield Avenue at the driveway that we have there. We need 305 feet based on standards of safety. We have way in excess of that distance. So there's that, and again, the levels of service that resulting from the analysis that we prepared show that we have adequate gaps in traffic to allow right turns and left turns as well. We'll go under the scrutiny of obviously of your board engineer, but also the county engineer as well, of what their feeling is about making those left turns, right turns. My results of the traffic report showed that it can work safely and efficiently. And then the site plan, we've analyzed traffic movements through the site. Essentially, there'd be no changes to traffic movements. The only change, significant change, is that we'll be able to exit and enter off of Plainfield Avenue. And what we're anticipating,
That's like a convenience store because
oops, I'm sorry, saying?
you can only exit and enter onto Plainfield for the convenience store.
Yes, exactly, right. All the gas traffic has to go through that one-way flow coming in off of Plainfield Avenue, but must exit onto Emerson Lane. The convenience store people that park their vehicles, they can go out to Emerson Lane if there's no cars in the filling up, but primarily they'll come out onto Plainfield Avenue to exit the site. So that additional traffic that we might see is probably just going to be the store only people, which approximates 9 vehicles per hour. And half of them make a left, half of them make a right, because that's the orientation on Plainfield Avenue already. We anticipate to follow that same distribution. So I believe the site plan is adequately designed. We have some constraints. If we were able to wipe the slate clean and deal with the site, some of the issues that the public brought up in terms of coming out onto Emerson Lane, we could probably rectify that, but there's situations that are occurring now. They don't seem to be difficult in terms of making those movements, and it will remain as it exists. But the levels of service that we come up with and the site distance analysis that we prepared indicates that they'll continue to operate in a safe and efficient manner.
I got one quick question for you, and I guess it's a combination traffic professional as well as the engineer. And we don't know obviously yet what's gonna be sold in the store, because that's the next meeting for the planner, but hypothetically speaking, let's say you sell lottery tickets. And you have a big Powerball event going on. You only have 4 parking spots, plus you got people filling up for gas. So how does that traffic work in that situation? If you don't have a lot of room on the lot as it is, so what happens in that situation? Do you have just people lined up outside on the street and Plainfield Avenue?
I've never seen that at a convenience store, so I can't imagine that could happen because think about the places, how many places you can buy a lottery ticket. So you did have the Powerball, you know, if you see any type of line at this store, I'm sure you can go down the road or to another location that on your way to work or from work. It's certainly not that Powerball is running. I don't have to buy it at that second as I'm passing the gas station. I'll go out to another store, come back another day or another hour or something. So I can't imagine the absolute need to have a slurry of customers coming in all at one time because there's such a demand of something so instantaneously. So.
Yeah, just one question, Joe. There was a comment about providing a site distance triangle at the proposed driveway exit onto Plainfield Avenue.
Oh, we'll provide that. Yes, I think that was one of the engineer's comments. Yes.
Okay. And I think you covered it, but there's also just a question raised. In your professional opinion, is the site adequate for ingress and egress from all parking spaces to ensure ease of mobility, ample clearance, and safety of vehicles and pedestrians?
Yes, I think the key there is that we have a 24-foot aisle, standard width aisle. So pulling into each one of those parking spaces and pulling out to proceed in the direction you need to go to can easily be made as well. Yes.
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions from our professionals?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. Joe, quick question regarding the 2 spaces to the south. Any concerns about their location as to how close and they're perpendicular to the egress drive heading back out to Plainfield?
Yeah,
With
absolutely.
their maneuverability?
I think that's a good point, and we're going to designate those for employees. We have 3 employees maximum. We're anticipating 2 of them drive currently and with their own vehicle to park. So they'll be designated employees, and it makes the most sense. They're the furthest away from the building as well. We want our customers to have the more convenient spaces.
Are you proposing signage to do that, or will you just tell the employees?
We'll tell the employees if we need signage or the engineer planner feel signage is helpful, employee only parking, we'll do that as well.
Ms. West, any questions?
No.
Ms. Sylvester? No. Ms. Prada? No. Ms. Ringwood?
Yeah, I just want to understand the numbers a little bit. So morning peak hour, you said current condition, you said is 12. And then you said the projection when it becomes a convenience store, if it becomes a convenience store, is 44?
No, the morning peak hour you're talking about. Right now, there's 12 that come in.
And then it becomes what?
Comes 38.
Okay.
I don't believe that's true, but I used it anyway in the analysis to come up with the levels of service.
Well, that's why I wanted to, that's where I was kind of going with this, because you're 20, 60, 20 in terms of your 3 different types of customers. That's I'm assuming that you're using an average over the entire day of operation. And that the morning rush hour, and it would make sense, people getting coffee or whatever, is a significantly busier time. So those numbers they're different in the morning than they are if you use them over, because you keep talking about an increase of 9, but that doesn't jive with the increase from 12 to 36 or 38 in the morning.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in time of day, and you're using averages. I'm assuming. I'm asking you that question.
Yes, I don't. So I wrestled with this as well, because what we find is that the percentages really don't change much through the day. You would think that, well, more people stopping in to have coffee, but we find that people are getting that quart of milk or loaf of bread on their way home for also. So we find that it pretty much stays the same.
So then what you're suggesting is that those 30 the additional 36 or 38 people are, because there's a convenience store, are people who never go stop there to get gas before, but now are stopping there to get gas?
No.
Because there's a convenience store?
I believe that 12 number, for some reason, is lower than what it should be based on the empirical data that's collected at other gas stations that come up with these numbers. And there should not be that disparity between 12 and 38. Should be much closer to what we see in the evening peak hour of 32 to 44. And that
would make sense to me.
Excuse me?
That would make sense to me based on your other numbers.
Right, because you add the 9 and the whatever, right, it's a lot closer. So I think there's an anomaly here in that morning peak hour, because we're not going to see, an addition of 26 store customers coming in that peak hour, that increase from 12 to 38. And it just doesn't make sense with the percentages that we see at these stores. I can't explain it, but we use that number to analyze the driveway. I said, okay, we're going to jump from 12 to 38. What happens at the driveway? What happens at the intersection of Plainfield and Emerson? It all works. Now, and I know there's a little bit of a missing link here, because, all right, but what if that difference is store only customers? What's going to happen on the site? You're going to have enough parking? You're going to have, how is it going to work? I don't believe we're going to have that disparity.
Well, I do agree with you. So, the reality is, with the concerns about backups and all that stuff, is the number of parking or the limitation of parking spots will also limit the customers. Because people who can't park are just not going to go there.
They're going to go on by, because convenience store. Why is it called convenience store? You want convenience. People only stop in because I can get in and out in minutes. Where if I stop at the ShopRite or the Wegmans or whatever, I'm in there for quite a long time to go do what I need to do, grab my quick purchase. And if it's not convenient, they're not going to stop. Yes, as well. You see a line of cars. Now, it's going to be a line of cars because something's going on. It's much cheaper than anywhere else, but many more people are going to pass that by.
So do you think the 12 is low or the 38 is high?
I think the 12 is low. Because the 38 is based on what typically happens out in the industry, and there's a disparity with the 12.
Okay.
And why it was, I don't know.
Mr. Smith, any questions?
You saw the question that came from the Berkeley Heights Police Department about the egress at the intersection of Emerson.
Yes.
I realize it's an existing condition, but is there any way to address our police force's concern?
Which one? I don't.
He's concerned that I guess the egress comes out pretty much right at the stop.
Oh, yeah. And that, it's a function. I'll pick up so I get on the. I'll bring the board up to me. To the microphone. There's not much that can be done because it's just a matter of geometry and how the pump islands are lined up, contiguous to the building itself. And as I said before, if we had the ability to wipe the slate clean and do this all over again, we'd probably set the building back. I know we have a rear yard issue as well. So it's a constraint of how the site has been developed in the past and what we can do with in the future. The only thing that probably could be done, and it will probably be anti-productive, is we eliminate the one pump island so that vehicles could have more of a swing. Is it going to absolutely solve the issue? No, you still be on top of that intersection. You'd have a little bit more room to make that swing a little bit better. But now you've removed 1/3 of your pumping volume, where you have single lane lineups that is going to, create on-site congestion, and you'll have those potential of backing things up. So the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah, I guess the related question, and I'm sure our residents will bring it up again, is one of the residents questioned about different turning radius for bigger vehicles, and isn't that going to compound the problem?
Yeah.
At that.
Yeah. And again, I think as it was pointed out, we have that situation going on at the site now. The police have identified that as well. I don't think it's going to increase to any significant degree to worsen it to a significant amount. So,
Nothing. The only question I have at the time, and you may not have the answer, and if not, you don't have to come back to provide it, but if you could provide it. If you have a traffic study of the amount of vehicles going past at 6 AM to 7 AM, we can, when the planner comes, he can talk about why the hour change. But I'm just trying to understand the traffic flow, because right now we're saying peak time is 7 to 9, the biggest peak time is 7:45 to 8:45. So trying to understand traffic between 6 and 7, which is when we're trying to move the hours. If you don't have it now, that's okay.
no, I'm gonna hit that nail on the head.
Okay.
Because I did take, these are a little bit older. They were taken 2 years ago. But we did, when the applicant had proposed that, I did take counts. I did take counts from 5 to 6 AM and also 6 to 7 AM. Now, these were back in 2023, so they are 2 years old, but they're gonna give you a relative good numbers. 5 to 6, 58 vehicles passed the site.
Okay, so 5 AM, say 56, okay?
Only 58 vehicles. And between 6 and 7, 234.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll open it up, can I get a motion to open up to members of the public? Making a motion by Mr. Deland, a second by Mr. Smith. We are now open to members of the public for traffic. As a note, it is 10:55. We were going to try to get through your questions for this specific professional, so we can come back another night. So, gentlemen there. And again, specific to what we've just heard from the professional.
All right.
Thank you. Name and address for.
John Phillips at 56 Emerson Lane. I've worked with Joe or his company in the past, so I'm not gonna question your numbers. But did you have an opportunity to go to the site and actually drive on Emerson Lane to Plainfield?
Yes.
And when you look to your right, to the south, was there anything obstructing your sight line?
If I recall, there was looking to this.
Looking
so
to the south.
I'm on Emerson looking to my right.
Right.
Not on the site, the road does have a.
Did you have to go beyond the stop line in order to get clear vision to the right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because of the 3 bollards and the signpost?
No, only because I had the room to move forward. The stop line is set back from the curb itself. So before that, I actually make a turn, I cross that stop sign to take a second look, and then I make my.
And you didn't see any obstruction to your sight line to the right, to the south? From that signpost and 3 bollards?
I don't recall it. I don't disagree that.
I travel that intersection every day, and I've done it for 72 years. But to the right.
I'm listening. I just want to get.
The signpost and the bollards are about 3 feet high. And they obstruct the vision. You have to go out further, almost into the right of way for Plainfield Avenue, to see to the right. And because you've got the short vision to the left, you have to really time it. And it would be helpful if that obstruction was removed. And you also should consider, I would think as a condition, that they put no sandwich board signs in that location. We've done that in the past.
So this is the sign, I'm pointing to the signpost. I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you that they a pole. If you're at a specific location, a pole that's quite a few feet away from you, probably in the order of 30 feet away from you, lines up with the roadway. But as you move forward or where you started, that pole is not in your line of sight.
But you have to come up forward to get a good sight line to the right, because you've got the short sight line to the left. And you've got to make sure that you've got time to get out. And you can't visualize the sight to the right and then pull forward and still have the time to make the.
Yeah, your plan is providing sightline views?
Yes, I think to answer your question directly, as a condition of our approval, we said we were going to provide a sight distance, sight line analysis to the engineer. It'll be open to the public as well to ensure that we have sufficient
Yeah,
sight.
I mean, it would be great if the sign could be moved back onto your island.
Or
And then the bollards would disappear and your landscaping along Plainfield Avenue would disappear and it would clear up the entire site lot.
We can look into that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Jayant Sagar. Jayant, Jayant, and last name is Sagar, Sagar. And it's 20 Rogers Avenue,
I'm sorry, what's your address?
20 Rogers.
Thank you.
My question is that by mistake, if a tractor trailer's taken exit from 78 and comes to the gas stations and finds out that there's no room and it wants to get back to the highway, what is the legal route for them to get back? They cannot take immersion, but immersion big vehicles are not allowed.
That's a good question. Mrs. Farr, do you know which roads can they go on? They can go on Plainfield?
They cannot take U-turn.
By tractor trailers?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where the signs are actually over there.
Yeah.
I know.
The 4-ton restriction on Emerson.
Yeah, so they couldn't.
So it will take another 5 to 10 minutes. Either they take illegal immersion turn or they go inside till downtown and get back to.
Left on Mountain Avenue, that's a north route.
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I just don't know who is speaking. I'm sorry.
That was a member of the audience, is fine.
I can answer. Mountain Avenue directly to the north is the next main,
So it will take another 5 to 10 minutes for him to get back to the highway. Or the
probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's a bit of.
Only when you're at the mic.
Yeah, and my second question is that if somebody comes to the Plainfield and he finds that all parking is full, so is it legal to park for 2 minutes with the parking light on the shoulder of the Plainfield and then can go back and grab something like coffee or anything? Can they
That's
park?
traffic. I mean, that's a question for the police department. I can't.
People will do that. I think you can park. There is no like restriction on parking on the Plainfield. People do park on even in immersion. I see people parking on the shoulder. It's legally allowed to park. The cops cannot give ticket for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that would
perfectly.
be something you would have to discuss with them.
Okay,
But thank you.
these are two questions. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Hi, sir. My name is Rohit Dubey, 674 Plainfield Avenue, Berkeley Heights. So I would like to highlight one point here, which I have been highlighting from last 3 meetings regarding traffic. There is a natural blind spot on this side. If you look at this,
Here's Plainfield
this
Avenue.
is Plainfield Avenue.
Right.
So when
Emerson is here.
Emerson is here. So when a person is coming from 78 Plainfield Avenue going towards Mountain Avenue, there is no gradient displayed here, right? This is steep downside towards the Mountain Avenue. This creates a blind spot here, which has caused already many accidents. We should pull accident report of last 2 years from police records and see what kind of accidents have happened here in 300 feet of this cross section. This is a blind spot, which is already dangerous. Lot of residents are already facing problem because of this. Question is, the kind of traffic which is going to increase with addition of the facilities here with convenience store, with additional diesel, this traffic is going to make this cross section more dangerous.
What's the question?
Question is, what kind of study has been done with the products which are being sold here with the convenience store? Because ultimately that's the peak thing, how the new traffic is going to come. It will depend on whether just grocery items are being sold here or just the tobacco items are being sold?
Planner comes, he'll talk about what's going to be sold inside.
Everything is related, yes.
Yeah, no, so when the planner comes, that's when we'll talk about what's gonna be sold inside. So your question related.
What
to
study
traffic-
has been done with the products being sold there in the community store? Or what kind of traffic is
Planner
being?
will have to answer the traffic for the.
Because it is all related, it's going to bring the traffic.
We understand it's related, but this gentleman can't address that. The planner,
Yeah.
who's not here tonight, is gonna come back to the next meeting.
Traffic
and he'll-
people have analyzed it, right, based on the studies have been done in class with the other schools.
We
Yeah.
don't know. Well, that's why.
That's why I'm asking, what kind of a study?
We're telling you the
I'm sorry.
planner will answer your question.
So sorry, so
Okay.
sorry. Mr. Ringwood, I'm sorry, can you finish your thought?
The planner will answer the question when he testifies
Mhm.
before us. So that's the time to ask your question, is when the planner comes, next meeting. They wanna answer your question.
Yeah.
The planner has to be here to do that, and he'll be here for the next meeting that they're here presenting the.
Okay, so for you, my question is, as you have done all the different kind of studies here, did we bring out the police report of the accident happened in this cross section in last 3 years? Do we have that report? The number of accidents happened in this area, in this specific cross section in last 3 years?
I don't.
Yeah, we should bring that, and then we should discuss about the number of parking spots available, because right now there are 7 spots. 2 will be occupied by the employees. 5 will be available for the normal public who is coming there for diesel convenience store.
We're really short on time. We need a
That's
question.
fine. I put my points. We should bring the police report in with the accidents happened in last 3 years to this point. Thank you. With the traffic.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just respond, the police department did not raise any issue with any issue of accidents at Emerson and Plainfield. If they had, it would be in their report, and they did not raise that. And I think I indicated at the outset, this is going to be a rather small convenience store. They're going to be selling groceries, prepared foods. They're not going to be doing any cooking on site. So it's,
We'll wait for the planner to discuss.
yeah, and I'll have the planner clarify that.
Mr. House, you had a question?
Name and address just for the record.
Hi, Chris House, 20 Janet Lane. The numbers that you gave for the studies that you've done, you said were from 2 years ago?
I
No,
think that was for the
That was-
6 a.m. and
yeah, that was the early morning,
early morning.
five to 7.
So, but those numbers in those early morning, I said that was from 2 years ago.
Yes. The
So,
numbers I gave previously were taken in September of this year.
September of this year, so three months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to time it with when the new development came in down the end of Emerson with all that housing development in Warren. And so the other question I had was the numbers that you've given, you've said based on, regulations that it's not really a big significant impact to the site in terms of traffic. So then I'm wondering why we're doing it, right? If you're not getting that many customers, what's the benefit to the public? I think is the question. It's not a traffic question, but I think it's just in general. In your traffic study, what have you, did you look at any of the traffic flow when people cannot turn into the site and where they go and what they do? Because what they do is they'll turn around on on Janet Lane, on Jen's lawn, and it happens several times a day. Turn around in our driveways. Did your traffic study show any of that?
No.
Okay. And then, could you just review the numbers for me again? You said there are 3 reasons why customers would pull in. One was for getting gas, one was for getting gas and food, and the other was just getting food. But what about those cars coming in to charge EVs?
I think it's gonna be such a small number compared to the other 3 numbers that I gave.
Yeah, so then it speaks to like if it's necessary to do.
Well, it's
Yeah.
state law.
Well, yeah, no, but is it worth our town doing? I think is the question. Yeah, so.
Well,
Yeah.
again, I don't think Berkeley Heights can supersede the state law with respect to EV.
If they do this, they have to put the charging station, is what he's saying. So
Yeah.
like if you looked at.
They have to put a charging station.
Right, so if you look at even the buildings on Springfield Avenue, Harrison that went in, there's apartments upstairs, they had to put a charging station in. So during the remodel, it's just a law that.
Oh, that's a law. Oh, I'm sorry.
You have to. They do this, they have to put that in.
I see. Okay.
However, we don't have to necessarily say that. In other words, if someone wants to park in that spot, they're allowed to do that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And
My name is Paula Hunchar. I live at 8 Sycamore Avenue in Berkeley Heights.
Thank you.
I use that gas station because my mom lives around the corner. First, a clarifying question. Did you say that your number said maximum in an hour would be 44 cars go by? And how many of those do you anticipate would go into the site?
44. And that's,
A
that's
1,000 go
projected.
by.
Sorry.
You said 1,000 go by.
Yes.
44.
44 go in, okay.
PM.
And you also said that the average time to get gas or to get coffee would be somewhere from 3 to 4 minutes. So if you've got 44 cars coming in 60 minutes, even if you knock that down to 20 cars, you'd have 3 cars coming in every 2 minutes. But if everybody that's there is staying 5 minutes, aren't we gonna have a big traffic jam?
You got 6 pumps, so you can process 6 vehicles at the same time. So if they're all taking 5 minutes, let's say on site, and you can process 6 of them at the same time, you can process 72. If they're all buying gas, if all 44 are buying gas, you can process 72, and you only got 44.
But there aren't 6 pumps there now, so you're gonna be.
No, there's 6 fueling positions. There's 3 pumps. They both pump on both sides.
They don't do that now.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they can. You could put 6 cars in there if you had to at the same time.
Okay, well,
So as long as the service rate is higher than what your arrival rate is, you'll always have the ability to get those vehicles out, have any backup.
okay, all right, thank you.
That's why it's important, I think, add that third pump, make sure that you get that process of being able to pump.
Name and address, please.
Yes, Ashish Bhandari.
Could you just spell that? for them?
Yeah, ASHISH BHANDARI, 10 Rosegate Court. So statistics is a funny thing, right? It hides more than it tells. My question is, we have an existing site, and that's a very convenient way to study the traffic, given that you have an existing site versus a new one coming up. But what's new is we've got 3 very large developments which are coming up. There's one by Emerson, there's one by Bodyburn Road, and there's one by, I think, exit 51 on 78, which will come into Berkeley Heights as well. Have we done any study taking into account the number of development and the housing and the cars that are going to come up as part of that?
Yes. What we did was, when we did our study, the one thing I neglected to say, we adjusted our volumes. We take existing volumes as they are today, and we bump that up. What we find historically, DOT has information on this, of what the volumes can be expected to increase on an annual basis. 2.25% is what DOT says. So I take 2 years projection out, and I use, so if I had 1,000 cars going into the intersection today, I increased that by 4.5% to look at a 2-year horizon, which.
No, I understand. I think it's when all things are equal and there is a normal inflation. Here we have 3 big developments coming up. So I think I just want the board to know that that's a very, very important factor, because I think what my neighbor just said, there is a reason why this convenience store is being built, right? It is going to be a hub and magnet for all of that traffic coming in. Now, you had made a point earlier that if you have a car driving in, and if it finds that there is a queue, it will keep driving in. That's fine. The reason it will drive by that gas station is because all of these developments know that this is the nearest convenience store. So let me go past that.
Sir,
Now, what will
limited to questions.
Right. So what happens is the volume of the traffic goes up. And these are the things that I at least I didn't think came out in the study. Yes, there are some normalized.
Is there a question for him?
Well, I want to see what are the aspects of these 3 developments and the volume of traffic that increases, not just the.
I think his answer was just that they take the current traffic, increase it based on what's going on in the area over time for a 2-year period. So he's increased the traffic based on what's
2.5%.
4.5, I think he said,
per year.
over 2 year. So it's 2.5 per year. So he's increased.
That takes into account the development.
That,
Yes.
Yeah.
Takes into
No, I
future.
don't think you've said that. I mean, I think what you've said is that's a historical number that the DOT recommends you use. It doesn't take into account local development. It doesn't take into account unusual development or anything.
No, I'll say regional development.
Yeah, thank you. That was the point I was going after. Thank you.
So we do have, like many towns in New Jersey, I think we have a lot of development underway. And so there may be a case to be made that says maybe that 2.25 number is not right here.
Yes, but I believe we have in the analysis, we find that we have level service A and C, that there's enough reserve capacity that even if I'm off by 10 or 20 or 30%, I still believe that we'll be in that acceptable range of acceptable levels of service.
any final questions? And please, no comments, no testimony, questions, just straight
No
questions.
comments. Just one simple question. Srijit Chalancheri,
You got it.
SREEJITH CHELANCHERY, 716 Plainfield Avenue, right across the gas station. What type of the audiences does the convenience store attract?
That's not traffic related.
Yeah, it is not.
So that's what we're doing right now is questions for the traffic expert.
Sure. So now the other question that I had was like, when the parking lot is full, how would a person who drives by would know that?
How will they know that?
Mhm.
They'll be able to see
So they have to slow down. They have to slow down and evaluate if the parking lot is full or not.
How will they know whether it's full or not?
Yeah.
They'll be able to see the parking spaces are
They have to slow
full
down.
or not.
They have to slow down and see that.
I don't know if they have to slow down. They may be able to see it as they're traveling on the roadway.
Okay. That's why.
Thank you. Ma'am, you had a question? Yep.
By the way, the answer to his question is who's gonna frequent a convenience store is probably everybody who's in this room this evening. We all frequent convenience stores and we all frequent gas stations.
Name and address, please.
Sarah Miller, 25 Emerson Lane. I think one thing that we can all agree on in this room, whatever side that we're really discussing this issue, is that we're all interested in safety. Okay, and so some things are pre-existing. They've improved somewhat 2 years ago. And I am getting to a question, I'm sorry, that my big concerns, everyone's kind of touched upon them, so I'll leave it at that. But just to really plead to keep on thinking, when doesn't seem like there's other options, there might be. So let's please consider them. I have two questions. One is that it hasn't been brought up is the tanker deliveries come in the evening when it's after hours. They come in the evening or at the nighttime. They come up, I don't watch them every 2 to 3 times a week, every week, but they do out my kitchen window. It's right there. They stop, they back up. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even watch, sometimes. And then back up into the station. If they, looking at the 10 p.m. closure, that means it's going to be even later? Is there what's the consideration about the tanker deliveries?
I don't think
The current situation is a little dangerous, and then is there anything that's going to change?
If you're asking specific to when the tankers would come, we'd have to leave that to a different time. Traffic study.
Traffic study.
Are you asking him about how?
Because they have to stop traffic and there's nobody, the tankers out there, like,
What's the traffic question? So that
Chairman,
who deals with backing up an 18-wheeler when there's a hill and you're backing up into that gas station?
I will ensure that our operations person will testify.
Be able to, okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then my other question related to your presentation was, can you explain to me what the future of service, the C is 19 seconds? Is that increased delay of?
No.
What is that?
No, so when you analyze, when you model, I'll say computer model the intersection, your number of lanes and how many turn lefts and rights and so forth. There's a computer analysis that's done that determines the average delay it takes to make a left turn,
Yeah,
to
that's
make a
what
right turn.
Mhm.
And those are broken down into levels of service. So if it's 0 to 10 seconds, it's level of service A,
So it's
10
B
to
is
20,
19.
B, yeah, and I think the C was 19 seconds.
What are we currently?
That same thing, the minimal traffic that we generate doesn't change it, so we're at A's and C's now.
Okay.
And the one aspect I didn't.
A's and C's because of the timing of the day,
The-
throughout the day?
No, the peak hour.
Peak hour
Worst-
is
The
C.
the highest volumes on the roadway, we're at level service A at the driveways, and we're at level service C.
Okay, that's
at
what
the
I- okay.
intersection. But let me just, there's one other very important point, is that I think I touched on it, but the increase in traffic that I talked about, when we go from 12 to 38 and 32 to 44, half of that, if not more, 2/3 of that is pass-by traffic. So as I pointed out before, there's very few people that will go out of their way to go buy gas at a specific gas station. This is traffic that's on Plainfield, that's already on Emerson, that decide to pull in to buy gas or to buy a convenience item. So it's not new traffic in the area. It's traffic that's there, but it makes a diversion going in and going out and doesn't increase the.
Yeah, you're anticipating this increasing up to 3% of the traffic going by to pull in. Like that's 1,000 cars go by.
That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
1,000 pass by, 38 go in, and they're anticipating it going from 38 to 44 in the peak hours of the evening.
That's his number. It's 12 was actually.
12 is the morning,
Yeah, and 32 is.
32, and that's what we discussed earlier, that they think that 12 is actually light, because that's a big
He
discrepancy.
thinks that we're an anomaly, that his time in September was an anomaly. I disagree. I think this is our neighborhood, but, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Any follow-up question in the back?
Sunita Kandala, 710 Plainfield. I did hear about pedestrians, but I didn't hear anymore. Like you said in the beginning, in the calculations, you're addressing pedestrians, but I didn't hear anything more after that.
Well,
And I wanted to hear what is the risk with the pedestrians. I walk every day, take my dog. This is residential, and it's already a risk because the trucks or the vans are up on the pedestrian walkway. And I'm always like so careful watching at the driver, making sure they're not coming up to me, right? And now we are saying we're gonna have more service, more cars going. I just wanted to hear like the risk analysis for the pedestrians.
Well, what I was talking about is when we design our site plan to make sure that our site plan has safe pedestrian access on the site. What's happening on the roadway itself is really not, it's public property, not our property.
But they,
It's a byproduct
Yes, sir.
so you're providing service and your cars are on the walkway, yeah, on the site. Already walking, and which is not safe.
Well,
As a grown-up woman, I am concerned walking by there every single day. Are we saying that we are not able to use the sidewalks at these,
no, you're
timing?
supposed to use. the sidewalk.
okay. So
And-
the
and-
gas station is now utilizing the sidewalk as their property. And it's public property, I guess they could use it.
I'm not following your concern, but there is a sidewalk around the property and there are two driveways that people are driving across the sidewalk to get onto the roadway. And the main concern is there good site visibility? Does the driver see the pedestrian? Does the pedestrian see the driver? So you can interact safely together. And there was a concern about one blind spot. We're gonna check the site distance and make sure that is sufficient site distance there, and we'll rectify it if it's not. We're gonna work with your board engineer. So that's really the safety aspects that we took a look at. Do you have good site visibility in order to see one another?
To get out, right? That is
Correct.
when they're trying to get out of the site. But when they're already parked to get the gas, they're already up on top on the sidewalk. So just a standing vehicle is a risk to a pedestrian.
I'm not,
Right.
when they're buying gas, they're up on the sidewalk.
Mhm. They're up on the sidewalk already.
Well,
And I'm telling as a grown-up woman, walking the dog every day, I'm like being very careful.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure there's a question here.
Yeah, that's,
So I'm asking, what is the risk analysis being done on the pedestrian walk?
well, they're not changing that. The gas station isn't changing, right? So where people exit to get from the gas now is going to be the same thing it is. So they're not doing any analysis on what's not changing. What they would look at is, again, is what's coming in off Plainfield to the convenience store, what may leave, and that's what they're looking at, is how many extra people would come in to do that. But the folks that are leaving out the gas station exit are gonna be the same as it was yesterday. So they're not gonna analyze what's not changing.
Okay, could that be a request made? Because right now the pedestrian walkway is being used by the service.
Well, when they do their sightlines, we'll look and see how the sidewalk may be being blocked by vehicles, and that may have to be addressed. But it wouldn't be an analysis on safety, it could be analysis on, are they parking where they're not supposed to be? But that's something they can take a look
I
at.
think it is reasonable, though, to ask you all to address the question of whether in normal refueling operations are vehicles encroaching on the side. Yes. So I think you should be able to address that.
We can look at the stop at the pump anyway, so.
I mean, there should be sufficient room for a vehicle to be near the pump without blocking the sidewalk. We'll look at it.
Should not block.
Do we have any final questions, Mr. House? One more question?
Yes, it's
Chris House, 20 Giant Lake. Was your testimony basically the flow of traffic in and out of the site, or did it also include the flow of traffic within the site? Okay, so then I'll wait for comments.
Thank you. Sir, do you have one more final question? No, all done? Anybody else from the public that would like to address traffic? Nope. Thank you. We'll just go to the meeting of the public, Mr. Delia. Make the motion. Mr. Ringwood? Second. Thank you. Members of the public, we will see this again sometime early in the new year. Planner will be here.
Well, we have to pick a date.
Yeah, early in the new year, but it
The
won't,
date.
yeah, well, we'll get a date. You want a date now?
Yes,
Who's got one?
February 25th.
What else is that? What, we're gonna need kind of an empty night. It's gonna be
That, February 26th.
February 26th.
All right, so February
Does that work for
26th,
you?
we'll make it work, and that will be without further notice.
Correct. So members of the public, if you'd like to hear more about this, please come back to the same place, same time on February 26th.
But it will not be these professionals, it'll be the planner.
Correct. And you will be able to make public comment at that point, after all the testimony's in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to members of the board for indulging us.
A motion to.
You wanna make a motion to adjourn? Really? You wanna go home? A second by Mr. Ringwood?
Okay.
All in favor?
There's always one last question.